We begin tonight with that breaking news. President Joe Biden has withdrawn from the presidential race. I'm Emily Maas. Thank you for joining us for the news at 5. The news comes after mounting pressure on the president to drop out, including from his own party members. The president writing in a statement on X that it was in the best interest of the Democratic Party and the country to, quote, stand down from the re-election effort. Biden says his focus will be on fulfilling presidential duties for the remainder of his term. Today, the Iowa Democratic Party Chair Rita Hart says she's grateful to Biden for his service in making the difficult decision.
I'm personally sad that President Biden has decided he is unable to continue the work that he has started by running for a second term. But I recognize that this action means that Joe is telling us that it's time for us to finish the job.
Biden has endorsed his Vice President Kamala Harris as the new Democratic nominee. The Democratic National Convention is next month in Chicago.
It's breaking news.
We have 3 breaking news stories right now at noon. First, a road in Buchanan County is closed because of a crash, and authorities are asking drivers to stay away from the area. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us this midday. I'm Emily Maas. Multiple agencies are on scene of a crash along Otterville Boulevard between Henley and Grant Avenue, north of Independence and Otterville. You're seeing a map right now of the area on your screen. Officials are asking people to avoid this area until the road is opened back up. KWWL's Lily Cedardahl will join us live for a live report from the scene in just a few minutes. Also breaking at noon, a person is hospitalized after an officer-involved shooting this morning in Iowa City. Police say they were called just before 9 a.m. for a report of an armed suicidal subject on Wild Green Road. When police arrived, they say the person fired their weapon and an Iowa City police officer fired back. The subject is hospitalized. The Iowa Division of Criminal Investigations is taking over the case. Also breaking, more potential layoffs at John Deere, this time for salaried workers. KWWL obtained an email sent to workers today. It says the company will begin implementing global salaried workforce reductions starting next week, Wednesday. This comes after the announcement that hundreds of Iowa production employees will be laid off in the coming months. We'll have more information in our evening newscasts and online. New tonight, several city councils will meet tomorrow to discuss housing opportunities and construction bids. In Cedar Falls, 3 public hearings are scheduled to sell general obligation loan notes. The first hearing covers several road projects like Main Street and Viking Road. The second would cover community center needs, public safety maintenance, and the Orchard Hill Pickleball project. And the third hearing looks to rehabilitate a property downtown between 2nd Street and Horny Toad. The project would turn the lower floor into a commercial space and the top floor to a residential unit. Council will start at 7. In Waterloo, City Council is looking to approve development agreements to turn 2 properties into new single-family homes. The buildings are on Vine Street and Almond Street. The homes would be ready in a little over a year. City Council in Waterloo begins at 5:30. This month, streaming service Max released a new documentary focused on the abduction and murder of Lyric Cook Morrissey and Elizabeth Collins in Evansdale. The documentary was released August 8th, and it's 3 parts. It explores the theories and details from the investigation as the family and former investigators question who killed the young girls. Former Waterloo Police Chief Dan Trelka is a part of the documentary. He says with the new platform, he hopes people will come forward with new information.
With so many things that were done right in that investigation, it shocks me that we don't know the answers yet. One of the biggest fears I have is that we may never know the answers, but I'm hoping with this documentary, somebody who knows something will say something.
Lyric Cook Morrissey and Elizabeth Collins went missing in July of 2012. Their remains were found later that December. There was currently a $100,000 reward by Cedar Valley Crime Stoppers for any information leading to an arrest in the case.
Look, I'm here at this very large outreach event. There are dozens of organizations set up here to just try to help these people. These brochures are just from a few of them. We have housing, dental, medical, just about anything you can think of. These people are here. Just behind me, you can see several tables set up for resources. There's also free haircuts, free backpacks, free toothbrushes, anything that these people may need. All these organizations tell me that they're here to try to start a conversation, figure out what these people need, and help them. There's also a free warm meal Hungry Charlie's is providing for the people that need it here. We'll hear more from these organizations tonight at 5 and 6. Live in Waterloo, Emily Maas, News 7, KWWL.
That's right, I'm in Old Line on West Charles Street. This area has been blocked off for quite a long time. I'm going to get out of the way here just to show you how many authorities are on a scene. I'm here in Joetown where the damage is extensive from this morning's storms. I want to give you a closer look at just one piece of the damage that we're seeing here today. This is a shed. I should say it's formally a shed. From the ground up, it's completely destroyed. You can hear that metal banging on the wood that's left. The insulation wrap flowing in the wind. The wood also just hanging by a thread. There is one piece of this shed that is still in place. It's the cement wall over there. Now, when the owner woke up, he said he thought he was dreaming when he walked out of here. And he was worried that his livestock may have died. We can tell you that thankfully that they are just fine, just over there in that corner there. Now tonight at 6, I'll give you more of his reaction. In Joetown, Emily Maas, News 7, KWWL.
I'll be here in Parkersburg all day, and volunteers are needed all day. So if you are here or nearby and you can help out, make sure that you come back. Ron and Elizabeth, according to the state, 69 people were laid off from Waterloo Works today, 34 from Dubuque Works. John Deere has not revealed how many people they've laid off nationwide or globally. I spoke with one now former employee earlier this afternoon. We are not using their face or image, and we also altered their voice to keep them anonymous per their request. But they say that they were disheartened from today's news.
That meeting notification just kind of like my stomach just dropped.
In the latest round of layoffs at John Deere, several salary workers were notified their jobs were eliminated today across the United States.
And I think it was just shock initially. Like I said, I was kind of preparing myself for it just because I knew it was a possibility. When we got that email last Monday, I just had a feeling like, get ready.
With more than 1,000 workers laid off locally by the company earlier this year, ISU economics professor Dr. Peter Orzum says this latest round shows Deere may not be optimistic about their future performance.
Laying off salaried employees or employees that Deere has invested more in terms of their training and longevity suggests that Deere anticipates a longer protracted decline in the demand for their product.
The company citing revenue decline and reduction in demand as part of the reasons for their cuts.
If the cost of production isn't going down and what they can charge for their product is going down, that's something that they can't absorb. I mean, they can't sell the product at a loss and make money.
For those now without a job, they're just trying to look ahead.
Just kind of keep thinking when one door closes, another one opens, and it sucks right now, but it's going to be okay.
And I turned on the news and breaking news, and my heart felt like it just stopped.
After 112 years in the community, the Lighthouse Inn on Mount Vernon Road is destroyed in a morning fire that left little behind.
I heard the sirens, saw them going up Mount Vernon Road, knew something was bad.
Here's what's left of the restaurant after this morning's fire. Just pieces of it still remain. From buns for the iconic sandwiches we've heard so much about today, to chairs and tables still standing where memories were made here. Moving on to a ship wheel, fitting the name of the Lighthouse Inn, the lighthouse still standing strong after today's destruction.
Whatever happens, I hope they leave it and it becomes a shrine. It's like we put flowers around everything. We could do the same thing.
The community reeling from the loss. From the mayor,
this was a place we considered a home.
To loyal customers.
You're family to them. You're not just, oh, here's another customer. Hey, welcome. You're family. You're part of us. They welcome you in. And the food, there's never could go wrong.
Each person with a different story and heartbreak over the historic spot.
We know it's just a building. It's so much more when you think about what went on inside. So it's devastating, I think, for the community, and I think personally to a lot of us too.
We're all grieving a loss. I think grieving a loss of a family member is the lighthouse to me.
In Cedar Rapids, Emily Maas, News 7, KWWL.
August 7th, 2023 was the day my life ended.
An emotional day inside a filled Johnson County courtroom as friends and family remembered Christina Pearson at the sentencing day for her killer.
If I could take it all back, I absolutely would. From the deepest part of my heart, so sorry.
On August 7th, 2023, Drake Brazina ran a red light, caught on camera crashing into a car with Christy and her fiance, Chris Brown. He was texting and driving.
The only way that any tragedy could have been avoided that day had been if Drake Brazina had decided to give his full attention to driving instead of his cell phone.
His therapist testifying she's never seen his level of remorse for someone guilty of a crime.
From the first meeting Drake, I could recognize he had a level of empathy like I had never seen before.
And Christy's parents giving emotional statements about their baby of the family.
Every night, I go to bed missing her. Wishing she was still there, thinking I wish I could take her place. Letting her go on with life and I would take the fall. I would do that in a heartbeat.
Friends tell me that Sam and I have aged 10 years since we lost Christy. My neighbors said I walk slowly with my head down. My family says we don't laugh as much because we are both so sad.
Brazina vowing to do all he can to make it right for the rest of his life.
The only way for my heart to have some form of justice and healing is that I do the work that I am supposed to do to let something like this never happen again.
Whether competing for gold or competing in the black and gold, the sport of women's gymnastics is growing and changing.
It's been amazing to watch the evolution of our sport, the difficulty, just the maturity too.
Jen Llewellyn is the new head gymnastics coach for the women's team at the University of Iowa. A former three-time All-American gymnast herself, she says the sport's popularity comes down to two things: the stories and the shock.
The stories of these young women and what they've gone through and what they've sacrificed, persevered through, and then just the elite level fear-defining skills that they do. It's insane. It's impossible for a lot of people to even conceptualize doing these skills. So the wow factor of it all, that they can do 3 flips and 2 twists, or a double flip off of the vault table, or twisting on the bars and high to low and low to high, and all of these incredible skills that defy all odds and defy gravity.
From delivering on the mat to delivering testimony in front of Congress, Llewellyn says U.S. women's gymnastics has taken a major leap forward in recent years.
I was in the era where you don't really have the ability to think for yourself because you're just always told what to do. So I think the last, I would say 10 years, it's really been fun to watch in college and in the Olympic scene of athletes getting in tune with their feelings and their bodies and figuring out, this is what I need and this is what I'm feeling.
After the University of Iowa put women's sports in national headlines, Llewellyn jumped at the opportunity to become a Hawkeye.
Obviously, women's basketball and Caitlin Clark has, not just for women's basketball, but for all women's sports as a whole, has really put it on the map. So with the new facility, with the investment in women's sports, with all the change that's happening in the NCAA, I think from afar I saw that, wow, they really are putting gymnastics first. And this is a place where you can really be successful and win national titles.
2 new members of the UI team are competing in Paris this year for Team Canada.
So it's exciting to come into an opportunity where we get to work with Olympic elite level athletes.
Llewellyn says she's confident when they return, Eastern Iowa will continue to show up for their female athletes and continue to break records.
And then I want everyone to be a fan of gymnastics. I want to fill the stands and sell out. Carver is the goal, to sell out, just like women's basketball does and just like the football stadium does.
As she helps the team bring home even more national titles.
They're very hungry, they're very driven, they're excited for the future.